Duke University made a huge change to their admissions process, but here's the thing, it didn't just happen. This actually went into effect during the 2023-2024 admission cycle, and most people still don't fully understand what this means. They banned essay ratings. That's right, admissions officers at Duke are no longer allowed to score or rate your essays with a specific number. For years, your college essay was one of the most important factors in admissions decisions, but now that's changing. So what does this actually mean for applicants? Do essays still matter? What is Duke University using instead to evaluate students? And could other top schools start following their lead? At the end of this video, you'll know exactly how this change affects your application strategy, and I'll also break down the #1 thing that Duke is prioritizing now so you can actually boost your chances of getting it. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about why Duke made this change in the first place. For years, college essays were scored and rated as part of the admissions process. Admissions officers would give essays a score, maybe on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and those ratings would be factored into admissions decisions. But Duke decided that system was flawed for a few key reasons. First is bias and subjectivity. Different admissions officers might read the same essay and give completely different scores, and so there was no true consistency. Second, essays weren't always predictive. Some students wrote perfect essays, got great scores, but then struggled in college. Others had weaker essays, but went on to excel. And finally, the rise of AI and ghostwriting. Let's be real, with AI tools like ChatGPT, it's easier than ever to polish an essay. Admissions officers know some students are getting outside help, which makes scoring essays objectively even harder. So rather than trying to fix the system, Duke just said, screw it, we're not doing essay ratings anymore. But here's where things get interesting. Now, before you panic, let's be clear about something. Most colleges already read essays qualitatively rather than assigning them a strict numerical value. So while this announcement got a lot of attention, it's not a completely groundbreaking shift. Think of it like this. Duke isn't throwing out the recipe, they're just ditching the old measuring cups. Before, they might have been saying this essay is an 8 out of 10. Now they're saying, forget the score. Does this essay actually tell us something meaningful about this student? And from what our own former admissions officers at Inspirit Consulting have shared, most top schools never solely relied on a numeric value to judge an essay anyway. Instead, essays have always been read holistically to see if they add some sort of depth to an applicant's story. But what Duke is making clear is this. Essays are now being used to help understand the applicant as an individual, not just as a set of attributes and accomplishments. Content and insight matter more than style. That means a well-written but generic essay won't improve Duke anymore. So if you were focused on crafting the perfect essay with flawless execution but no real substance, you're doing it wrong. So do essays still matter at Duke? Short answer, yes, but in a different way. Duke isn't saying essays don't matter, they're just saying we're not using a numerical rating system anymore. That's basically it. So here's how essays are actually being used now. First, holistic review. Instead of a strict rating system, essays are now read for overall context to help admissions officers understand your personality, values, and experiences. Second, spotting red flags. Your essay can still hurt you if it's generic, cliche, or obviously written by AI. Even though there's no score, bad essays can raise doubts about your authenticity. And third, helping make tough calls. When two students have similar grades in extracurriculars, a strong essay can still tip the scales in your favor. So don't get it twisted, your essays still matter. I want to make that really clear. They just aren't getting a number attached to them anymore. If Duke isn't rating essays anymore, what are they focusing on instead? They've made it clear that one thing matters more than ever, and that's your overall narrative. Duke isn't looking for a perfect essay score. They're looking at the bigger picture of your application. That means your activities, letters of recommendations, and your course rigor are now even more important because those things can't be easily faked or outsourced. So here's what you need to focus on. Your extracurricular story. Are you just stacking random activities, or do your extracurriculars show a clear passion and depth? Second, academic rigor. Duke wants students who challenge themselves, taking harder courses and doing well in them, by the way, will way more than ever before. And third, letters of recommendation. Since essays aren't getting scores, rec letters will be even more crucial in proving your character, work ethic, and potential. The bottom line is that your application needs to tell a compelling, cohesive story, not just a collection of achievements. Some people are saying this change is part of the reason students are applying to 25+ colleges, and think about it, if every school is changing what they look for, how do students know what will actually make them stand out? Colleges aren't always clear about what they're looking for, and that's why students feel like they have to apply everywhere just in case. And that's exactly why you need to focus on building a strong, authentic application rather than trying to game the system. So to quickly recap what you need to take away from this is, first, Duke banned essay ratings, but essays still matter. Second, your overall narrative is now even more important. And third, expect other schools to experiment with similar changes. And this is exactly why why you can't rely on outdated admissions advice. The game is always evolving, and if you're serious about getting into a top school like Duke and want to make sure your entire application tells the right story, we offer one-on-one consulting with former admissions officers at Inspirate Consulting. Now, do you need it? No. Everything I share in this video is completely free for you to use, but if you want expert guidance to make sure you're standing out, we're here to help. But either way, stay informed, be strategic, and make sure your application actually reflects who you are. If this video helped, drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.